Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of Superman and Lois Season 2. It's called World's War Bizarre. And as it begins, Clark is waking up in the hospital. And then he goes home, but he's still weak. And he wants to go to the fortress to consult his mother about what's going on with him, but Jordan's afraid to fly him there. So he goes to ask John to take him there. Meanwhile, Allie publicly announces her plan to merge the worlds. Upon visiting his mom, Clark is told that it will take time for his cells to regain their ability to absorb sunlight like before. And he thinks it means that it could take about 4 years because he didn't start developing powers until he'd been on Earth for 4 years. His mother starts to tell him how he might be able to speed up that process, but her hologram, or whatever it is, winks out when the other Earth comes into view in the sky, as the worlds are getting close to merging. Lois's publisher wants to print everything that she knows about what's going on, some of which she learned about when she went with Lois to confront Allie, I guess, in the previous episode. But General Lane doesn't want the Gazette publishing these things because he's afraid that the public will panic. But Superman thinks, or Clark rather, thinks that they should publish it so that the people know what's going on. But the DoD puts out a cover story simultaneously to explain the merging Earths, but people really aren't buying it anyway. Clark feels responsible for what's happening, but General Lane tells him it's not his fault, except for whatever happened as a result of him saving the General's life, if he really wants to blame himself for something. But Clark says, no, saving a life is never wrong. So then the General's right, it's not your fault. Lois and the newspaper lady go and tell Mayor Lana what's actually happening so that she can decide what she wants to do as far as disclosing it to the town. Although at first she thinks, oh, you're telling me this because you want me to lie. But they said, no, you're the mayor. We're telling you so you can decide what to do. While Clark is at the farm, kind of wallowing in the situation as the boys look on, Jordan hears evil Lana approaching and whisks Clark out of the way a second before she does a pretty hard landing right on his position. And holy crap, is she even hotter than regular Lana. She attacks Jordan as Clark protests, but John and Natalie arrive and she flies off. It seems that Allie is positioned between the two worlds inside the portal, and she's physically pulling the worlds together. And so John and Natalie decide to go in there to take her out. Lana, meanwhile, consults Kyle about what to do vis-a-vis what she should tell the public, and they have a conversation about the difference between keeping a secret and telling the truth, which ties back to him having not told her about his affair. And, you know, I used to complain about the other characters in this show getting screen time, the non-super characters, to deal with issues that had nothing to do with the super plot. You know, and I used to say it was good stuff, but it didn't belong in the show. And as I'm watching this scene, I was thinking, whether it belongs or not, I'm glad it's there because everybody on this show is really good in their parts. And as I said before, the scenes were always good scenes. There was always good stuff they were doing, but I didn't think it necessarily fit in the show. What I'm saying now is I'm glad it was there because everybody on the show is really good in their parts. This includes Lana and Kyle. And it really was just a beautifully acted scene. And it seemed, you know, from the writing and the acting together, it seemed like real life. So it didn't really matter to me that it wasn't part of the super plot. I was enjoying it. Clark is absolutely torn up about not being able to be Superman, but Lois tells him that he still can be helpful even without his powers, and that he can inspire people to not despair. Lana decides she's going to tell the town the truth, which when she does, it goes over like a lead balloon, and it gets worse when she tells them that Superman's out of commission, which they don't actually believe. At which point, Superman, in fact, shows up to tell the town that she's right and that they need to suit up, as it were, that they need to, you know, get a hold of themselves and stand straight and buck up and help each other through what's happening. John, meanwhile, prepares to go after Allie, and he asks Natalie to stay back and look after the Kents before heading into the portal and going to the void. John L. and evil Lana arrive and set out to menace Lana and company. John then makes it to the center of the portal, which, as I said, they're calling the void, and he sees Allie drawing the worlds together and attacks her, but it doesn't go well, and his signal winks out. Natalie can't contact him anymore. Evil Lana, meanwhile, starts her menacing with Jordan, Sarah, and Lana. So Jordan tells them to run before attacking her, which was pretty cool, actually. She shows up in the hallway, and he knows she's up to no good, and he tells them to run. They're like, what? What do you want? What do you, Sarah's like, what do you mean? And he lights up his eyes to, as if he's going to almost shoot laser beams. And he says, run, and they take off, and then he flies right at Evil Lana, and it was pretty cool, actually. John L., meanwhile, goes after Superman, and Jordan has to fight both he and Lana, which doesn't go well until Natalie shows up with the hammer, and both she and Jordan use it to kick some ass, really, leading to Evil Lana and John L. being taken off by the DOD. So it was pretty cool. She shows up, she tosses the hammer, and they like slow-mo it, and I guess it hits one of them, and then Jonathan catches it and throws it the other way and hits the other one. I forget exactly what I remember. It was a pretty cool maneuver, actually. It was a really cool scene. After this, though, Natalie's beside herself because she can't contact her dad, and the Kents try to comfort her. And when we see John in the next moment, we see that he's just kind of floating through space, but he's conscious. He's just kind of flipping around in his suit, like in an out-of-control kind of spin type thing. Sarah confronts Lana about not telling her what she knew, saying that she wouldn't have broken up with Jordan if she knew what he was dealing with. But their conversation is interrupted as the worlds start to merge more significantly, and objects and buildings start to change into their Bizarro world counterparts. And it was kind of funny because it would seem that in Bizarro world, they're using those old self-contained monitor computer colorful Mac things that were like super hot in the 90s. It was kind of funny. Anyway, that's where the episode ends. And I thought it was a really good episode. It touched on some good stuff, the fact that Superman can still help people without his powers. I thought that was a cool thing. And it really made a difference when he showed up at the meeting and told everybody, look, this is the deal and we've got to face up to it. And, hopefully we'll be okay. I liked that they leveled with Lana and told her everything that was going on. I liked that Sarah finally got to see that Jordan has powers and realized what he was going through. All that time when she thought he was a crappy boyfriend, he really wasn't. I was happy to see Natalie get to kick some ass. I thought the fight scenes with Jordan were pretty cool because even though he was getting double teamed, he was fearless and held his own. So I just thought it was a cool episode all the way around. I really liked the scene between Lana and Kyle. I really like the Lana character. I think she's incredible. I think she's well written. I think the actress is unbelievable and, gorgeous as well. So I'm looking forward quite a bit to the season finale, and I will be back with a review of that episode once it airs. Until then, I'm going to take my leave, and I leave you saying that I wish you peace and long life.